Florida. It's early morning, 5:16 a.m. So I'm just gonna let you view outside till sunlight. Let's see. All right, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. I don't want to lay down.
Then, so we're going to be taking a right here at the roundabout and veering left. And so here downtown, this is a few shopping centers, if you will. There's Little Caesars Pizza on the right, Popeyes, Burger King, Digicel store down here as well. And on the left coming up is Scotiabank, which some people might be familiar with, depending on where you are from, but it's a Canadian bank. And I guess officially this is where the west end of Negril starts. And on your left here is Corner Bar, which is a pretty popular restaurant, great local food. Haven't had it in a while, but reviews continue to be very good. And at the left, that's Vendors Plaza. That's the Negril Chamber of Commerce owned plaza. And on the right, obviously, we have the sea. Unfortunately, I don't think we panned right, but you basically can see the entirety of Negril on the right-hand side if you were to look right. You need to get a 360 camera next time, right? Anyway, on the left is the Negril Post Office, not in the greatest of shapes, but that is our post office. And then right after that is Samuel's Hardware on the left. And that's, I would say, probably the most popular hardware store in Negril. Mostly every business uses them. And then on the left, the green building, that's Quality Traders. That's where I do my grocery shopping. Been going there for years. And then we're coming up on the, I guess what used to be the Hilo Value Master NCB Plaza, but NCB and Hilo moved. So that's no longer there, and that place is being refurbished. And this is called Church Corner. As we move through the West End. Just cruising. And this is the Negril Library on the left, and then followed by Negril All Age School. And then this is another hardware store on the left. Hope you guys are enjoying this so far. I'm just flowing with it, and as I see things, I want to point them out to you. On the right is the Negril Yacht Club, which is for sale. Hopefully, should be doing a video on that hopefully sometime soon. Canoe Bar is on the right. It's pretty much the only property on the west end that has a beach. Good food there. Haven't been there in a while either, but their food is pretty good. That used to be German Bar, but I don't know what it is now, but boats used to pull up there. They used to have really good pizza. This used to be Boat Bar on the right, but it changed into something else. I'm not sure what it is now. And then Millard is on the left, and if you know Millard, that's 24 Hours Place. Good food as well. And then Patsy's is on the right, so they do, I think it's basically the only standalone coffee shop in Negril. They do good pastries, good lunch. I did a live stream from there and also did a video with them as well for the channel, which was cool. This is Ocean Cliff on the right we just passed. I did the farewell dinner there for ThropX 2022. Beautiful property, formerly known as the Spa Retreat. But beautiful property, great food that we had there for the farewell dinner retreat. And here on the West End, like, it's a very different experience than the beach. As you can see, like, it's very, it's I wouldn't say secluded, maybe too strong of a word, but definitely when you're on the properties, it's a little bit more secluded and separated, as compared to the beach, where there's just more traffic and no real, I guess, super separation between the properties. And really talking in terms of traversing. So to go from property to property here, you actually have to come out the property and walk along the roads here, whereas like the properties on the beach, you can either walk on the beach and go from property to property, or the road, if you will. And if you're across the street from the beach, then we have the shared user path, depending on where the property is. Now we are passing Samsara, which is friends of the family, another good small hotel in Negril. Sorry about that wind sound, I didn't anticipate that, but that just makes sense, just coming from the camera. This is Kaiser's. This was, used to be a very famous place for shows back in the day, before my time. Coming up on the left and the right here is Egg Stabby, great seafood place. Haven't been there in a while, but do enjoy their food. Great lobster during lobster season. Three Dives coming up on the right here. Very, very popular restaurant, local restaurant. Great jerk chicken, jerk food in general. They were actually on The Amazing Race, if I'm not mistaken. Almost certain of that. Nice view here of the sea. We're passing Pushcart on the right, which borders its sister property, Rock House, one of my favorite restaurants in Negril. They also have an award-winning spa, one of my favorite spas in Negril, as a matter of fact. And haven't been there in a while. When I say a while, like a few months, but I'm a regular customer there for sure. They do excellent job. Very technical, and I guess you can call me bougie when it comes to massages, but I know what I like and I know what I want, and they do a fantastic job there. That's Coral Seas Cliff we just looked at. And as you can see, we're literally just riding the coast here. The only thing separating us from the coast is the property. So this is as close as we can get in a vehicle moving. And I'd say like this is pretty typical in terms of traffic on the West End. It's not really a crowded place. The roads are narrow, but it's relatively safe as far as traffic goes. I guess because it's like so windy, you're forced to slow down, and also there are just not a lot of cars there. I bike here, I run here as well, and I like it a little bit better than the beach in the sense of there just not being that many cars passing and driving towards you. It's La Mirage Hotel. That's the sister property to Shirella Inn. Both great small properties, locally owned. It seems like I'm driving fast, but I don't think I'm driving fast. These properties are just like whizzing by. There's Ivan's, otherwise known as Catch a Falling Star. Again, one of my favorite restaurants, I would say, too. Highly recommend them. They do really good stuff, great service and great food. Coming up here on the right, this is the world famous Rick's Cafe, where you can do cliff jumping if you are brave enough, but it's definitely, I would say, the most popular place, bar and a grill place to go in the grill. LTU, that's a popular expat bar, and they do their famous Halloween party every October as well. Never been, but I hear stories. It's a lot of fun. Little girl saying hello.
Say hello to Sara Lee Half Loaves. Half Loaf, right fit, realize great size, less waste, all taste, more flavors to savor. First bite right. Brand new, all you. Give a little Sara Lee love.
If you have diabetic macular edema, you never want to lose sight of the things you love. Some things should stand the test of time. Long-lasting Eylea H.
Right, we are going deeper into the West End. We're almost in deep West End, but not quite there yet. Welcome to our newly renovated standard rooms, and this is our standard veranda, our balcony, depending on if you're on the first floor or the second floor. It comes with 2 chairs and a table. And this is our double queen room. And as you can see, we have our standard herring artwork on the walls with the accent wall and the wooden bed heads, and each bed has a reading lamp, and those reading lamps have USB type A outlets plus a standard outlet on the wall for you to plug in any electronics that you may have. Rooms also come standard with flat screen television, as well as a desk, coffee maker / tea maker that you can use in the mornings if you'd like, and you also have coffee and tea available to you as well. And we also have a mini fridge for your convenience. Of course, we are AC room. This is the tropics, this is Jamaica, but we also have a ceiling fan for you available as well if you prefer, or you want to use both. And moving on to the bathroom area, I just wanted to point out that all of our standard room doors now are using electronic key cards, which we are very happy about, and just much more easier to use from a hotel logistics standpoint. Moving into the bathroom, this is probably one of our most proudest renovations. Moving into the shower area, we have the rainfall shower head as well as the handheld shower head. And the designer went into the details of putting the shower together with its color schemes, but also the practicality of it. And I just wanted to highlight some of those, and one of them being the shower drain, as well as the shower heads, which you saw, which is all complementing each other. And of course, the shower amenities with this shelf for your convenience towards the back of the shower, and even where the shower faucet is, which is towards the back of the shower, which allows you to turn on the shower without getting wet. Moving on to the sink, it's also a black handle sink, which again just complements the design of the entire shower and bathroom, and it's all coordinated even with the room design. And as you can see, we have the towel hooks as well, which I really appreciate. And that, in a nutshell, is our newly renovated standard room. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. My mic was muted. Appreciate that. Still working through the cake. We'll start that over again. All right. Happy Sunday, everybody, and happy Father's Day to you fathers out there. And we are back with another Sunday live stream. And as you can tell by the title and thumbnail, we're doing things a little bit differently today. And it's been a while since we had a guest come on, and I thought that the subject matter that we have plus the video that I have coming out today is perfect. And I think the timing of this is really, really well. As usual, always thank you all for letting me know where you're chiming in from, what city, what state, country. Always appreciate that. Let's get a few quick ones in before we get the show started. And I introduce our guest who is sitting right next to me. We have, I just saw Donna. Okay, there we go. What's going on, Donna from Ottawa? Thanks for chiming in and thanks for always being in on this. Monica, happy Sunday to you as well. Steve, roads need improvement, and even the building, we love it still. Thank you. Welcome to the show. What's going on, Natalie? Nice to see you. Sharks, that place is closed down now. They're doing some sort of renovation. I'm not actually sure. I know he's talking about in the video, but I'm not actually sure what they're doing over there. See, Mother Move, what's going on? Thanks for joining. Hey, Suzette. What's going on, James? All right. I think we're gonna go ahead and get started. And yeah, that was the standard room renovation that you saw. And if you didn't see, I just put out a video 2 days ago, just doing a tour of Travelers and some of the upgrades that we've been doing. So if you haven't already, you can go ahead and check that out. Amelia from New York, Vivine from Palm Beach, nice to have you. Green Orchid, chiming in from NYC. All right, awesome. Thank you all for letting me know where you're coming in from. So for our stream today, we have another, convert to being Jamaican at this point in time, and she has a very, very interesting story. And I, really appreciate you all showing up. I do want to make this an interactive discussion and interview. And so if you have any questions as we go through our discussion, just put them in the comments, and I'll do my best to save them and then ask Susie those questions on your behalf. So with no further ado, I'd like to welcome Susie to the show.
Thank you.
Fellow New Yorker.
Yes.
Okay, and so you have a very interesting story. You are also doing something very, very incredible here in the Grill. You have a festival coming up in just a couple of weeks, essentially.
Yes.
But we're definitely going to talk about that. But I think, and I want to get into this in our discussion today, I think your story is going to resonate with a lot of people as to how you ended up here, why you're here, and how you're calling Jamaica your home. So to start with, I just want to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself to everyone.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Susanna Salmon, also known as Susie for short. I am a New Yorker, born and raised, but been living in Jamaica for 11 years now. I am the founder of Afro Jam Jamaica and one of the promoters. As well, I am the owner of Open Road Travel. So yeah, that's the gist. A little introduction.
Very cool.
Yes.
So to start with, I want you to share with everybody essentially what was your inspiration for moving to Jamaica, and why'd you do it? Why'd you do it when you did it? Because you've been here 11 years now, right?
Yes. So I'm a first generation Sierra Leonean. Both of my parents migrated to America in the 70s. So, I always felt when I was young that I wanted to just move. I never stayed still, even though I spent most of my time in New York. I spent quite a lot of time in Philadelphia. I lived in Miami, and then as well a little bit in Cali. So it was always to me, I just never felt at ease. I just felt like I just had to be somewhere else. So one of the questions when I was in culinary arts school in way back when, I don't want everybody to know my age right now, but way back when I was in culinary arts school, one of the questions was like, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? And I wrote, I want to move to Sierra Leone. So at that time, that was something that was really on my brain to move to Africa. But I visited Jamaica. The first time I came to Dream Weekend. I was like, this place.
When you've got multiple parts but need just one answer,
Wait, how do these things work together?
looks like you can just ask Google. Revitalize with Pure Leaf, a refreshingly bold iced tea. Time for a Pure Leaf.
That's why pool rules are so important for adults. Always watch kids. Install pool barriers. Give kids get more tips at pool safety. Filtering the cliffs, yes, the sky. And lawns, what's the weight of 1,000 sunsets? This is
It's nice. I mean, I grew up around Jamaicans, of course. In New York, or you grow around Jamaicans, Trinidadians, all type of Caribbeans, all type of Africans. But like, actually going to a place and then seeing the people you grew up with, their environment and stuff like that. And I was like, this kind of could be the place for me. I don't have to move all the way to Africa. I could be close to New York, 4 hours away. So it started just like that first visit, and then the next visit, I was like, and then the next one, I was like, yeah, I think I want to make this my home. And at that time, I was in my 20s. I was, I didn't have responsibilities, so I could just get up and go. So I was just like, I'm gonna do it. I saved up money, and to be honest with nobody, I don't want nobody to do that now. Have a plan, but I didn't have a plan. I was just like, it was just faith in God. I said, God, if it's meant for me to stay there, I'll stay there. So 11 years later, I'm still here. But yeah, that's the gist of it. And then when I, moved here, I just felt at home. It was just like it didn't take much time to feel at home. I'm not going to say there's certain stuff that I didn't have to get used to, but that feeling of home, I felt it. I just was like, this is it. I'm not saying this is my final home, but for right now in my life, I was like, yeah, this is home. And then every year, as a year gone by, I'm like, yeah, this is where I want to be. So
And
that's
then
the gist.
what did your family think? Your parents, your friends?
So so my mom passed when I was younger. I'm the youngest out of all my sisters. We all girls. So I am the one that I guess I'm the stubborn one. I don't listen. I just do whatever I want. I'm gonna put it like that. So I didn't tell anyone I was moving.
Wow.
I just got up and moved. And then when I got here, I said, hey guys, I moved to Jamaica. So like I said, I don't expect nobody to do it like me. Tell your family, tell your people. But I've always been like that since I was young. Like, my sisters can tell you, like, I'll just say I want to do something and then I'll go do it.
And have your folk come down to visit you?
Yeah. So my dad has come. My sister, she came with me. The first time I came, and then she's visits often because her husband is Jamaican. So the kids have come. My nieces and nephews have come. So it's like their second, third home, if you want to call it that. Yeah.
And how was, I always tell everybody, well, folks who've been with me for a while already know, like I've told my transition story to Jamaica, and I had a very rough first year, culturally, fitting in, whatever have you, business wise, social wise. And then also coming from New York, I think that was made it even more difficult.
Yeah,
And I also
yeah.
think just generally being an American made it a
Mhm.
little bit more difficult as well. So, what was your experience like transitioning here fully?
First things first, any New Yorker will tell you, we're the fastest city. I feel, I'm not going to say in the world, but in my opinion, I feel in the world. And everything is quick, fast. You could get anything done so fast in New York. And it's like, even when I was living in Philly, I thought Philadelphia was slow. So then when I moved here, I'm like, what? Like, bank, you have to go for morning, then you leave in the afternoon, and then they don't tell you, like, it was just like the miscommunications. You'll call them, you ask them, oh, what paperwork you need. They'll tell you this. Then you'll tell you, oh, you don't have all the paperwork. Then you're getting frustrated and they're looking at you like, why are you frustrated? And you're like, you told me this paperwork. Now I have to go back home or have to come the next day. So those things, like especially with business, or just like personal stuff, like how long stuff took, and that took a while for me to get used to because I was just used to everything being so fast. If I want to go open a bank account, I could do it online. I don't even need to go to a bank per se. So just adjusting my mind frame to that. And then also adjusting my mind frame. I am a foreigner here. So, yes, my skin color is the same, but, they know you. They know how you walk. They could tell you, they could tell, Jamaican them could tell, just by your mannerism, so you stick out like a sore thumb. So sometimes, and this is just everywhere in the world. People do it in New York. People gonna hustle you. You're not gonna get the same price as someone, a Jamaican or someone who knows the system in the marketplace. So those are a lot of things I had to get adjusted to as well. Learning how to speak for myself, speak out for myself. If something is not right, I live here now. I'm not a tourist now. So I should get, local prices because I'm looking to pay taxes. I'm looking to do those things. So I was like, certain things I had to get, accustomed to. And then just the mind frame of some people, um, it's like, yeah, island time. I mean, don't get me wrong, Africans late for everything. A lot of us. I wasn't on time today. I can't say myself. But it's just like that, still that too relaxed for me in the beginning.
Yeah.
It was like stuff is happening. It's like, oh, relax. And you're like, hold up, I had like a quick funny story. I had clients that were here on vacation, and the bus, what is it called? Something happened with the radiator or something like that. So it was overheating, and they got so upset and they were so antsy because we had to open the windows. We couldn't, of course, you had to turn off the car so the car could cool down. And it was like, I'm just like now, like, just relax. And then I'm like, I was them, in 2014. I was that, oh my God, what's happening? You're looking to see if somebody's gonna be coming on the corner of the road. But it's just like, I guess that nervousness in you. So that's what it was when I first moved here, just trying to get accustomed to the slowness, that just relaxed feeling, and learning to just pivot from that. And then learning to, like I said, stick up for myself, because once you don't understand things here, some people will take advantage of that, and think they could get away with doing certain things to you. So, that was.
And in the 11 years that you've been here, have you experienced any improvements in anything? Like generally, you go to the bank, doing business, interacting with people. I just like to hear your thoughts on anything you've seen.
First thing, airport. Yes, the airport. Internet service, I feel, has gotten better since me living here. Also now I know you can open, even though I haven't opened a bank account in a long time, but I know at NCB now you could go online and open a bank account. You could start the process. So those processes has, become smoother. I mean, you still need some letters and stuff like that, but still, those things are becoming smoother. Those things are becoming improvement. When I first came, when I got my NCB card, it wasn't a Visa debit. It was the forgot the name of them.
I know you're talking
Yeah.
about. I think it starts with an M.
Yeah.
I forget the name, but I know what you're talking about, yeah.
So it wasn't a Visa debit, so it's not like you could use it online to
Right.
buy stuff. So that was an improvement as well. Just and then the development, because I remember when I came, St. Anne's was like, you know, not nowhere. Drexel was not there.
Yep.
Just the many developments around, like the housing schemes, all of that, like a lot of stuff was just not there. You know, the highway, yeah, the highway was done, but I think, yeah, no, they just started making improvements to the Portland one, but Portland was smooth when I moved here, so I can't talk about that. But yeah, like those type of things, I noticed definitely improvements in. With the roads, I know the guy was
that's
thinking
what I
about
just
the roads.
said, yeah.
I don't know, like you go to Atlantic Avenue, it's or
That's in
I mean,
Brooklyn.
this is
Yeah.
stuff all over the world. Like, unfortunately, we wish it could be better, but you know, I always tell people, like, I'm from New York. We used to dodge, like, go like this in certain parts of Brooklyn or the Bronx and stuff like that. So those type of things I'm not too bothered by, but I know it's a bother for people like that's coming on vacation, because as people, you know, consider Jamaica to be a tourist destination. So those type of things, even though people are used to it back home, they feel they shouldn't get it in another country because they want just that smoothness. But you know, I get it, you know. But for me here, that only time it bothers me if I get a bus tire. I ain't gonna lie about that, or like something like that happens. But other than that, I'm just like, it's just, you know, simple things that, not simple, but things that I've dealt with, you know, back in the US. Like certain things that I've dealt with back in the US, I just don't let them bother me. But things where I feel like that could improve, still improve. I just try, like, you know, it does need to get better. There's quite a couple of things I personally think needs to get better, but I guess that's probably for another day.
We can talk about that.
Yeah,
Maybe if we have time, we can talk about that. But with the, I guess, like, along the same lines of improvements. So like, I've been here 19 years, and same thing. I said, like, I've seen improve night and day. Definitely the internet. I remember when we first got fiber, it was so much money, but we got it right away because we just knew, like, this is basic. So like the internet has improved tremendously. I always say, and it's just been done slowly and people don't really appreciate it, but like the electricity, like power outages were regular, you know, like in early 2000s. And I know before I moved here, when my dad was here, it was just, you just never, when it went out, you don't know when it's going to come back. And people really don't understand. And like, even now when we have like a storm, you know, it's been raining, sometimes it'll click clack in and out. And if there is something major, they have like a 24-hour response. Oh, 6 hours. Yeah. They say it'll be up and running, or like, unless it's like a hurricane or something like that. So huge improvements. And I'll also say, even along the banking situation, it's far from perfect here. I mean, we can talk about that all day. They already know. I mean, I can go off on just how ridiculous the banking system here. But one thing that they have improved on tremendously is online banking. Yeah. And even just doing transfers on your phone to do payments, like, it's so super, super smooth. I really do give them credit with that. And like even like transferring like different currencies within your own accounts, you can do it right there. I thought that was really good. You know, I wish, you know, you don't have to spend all day there, but that still is the case in many situations. But they've also, like, they understand, like, I think they've done a good job of like taking people, as many bodies, outside of the bank instead of like having them go in. So I think that has been good, but like there's a lot to go. With the developments that you had mentioned and alluded to, like, I know you mentioned St. Anne, but like, are there any specifically that stick out to your head that you're like surprised or excited to see?
I feel like I think one of the places, to be honest, like I said, I'm going to go back to Drexel, because I remember there was just like nothing there, and it was just so fast how they built up that area. Like, to me, I think in my brain, because I don't go to Kingston a lot, so I don't really know what's going on in Kingston. Let me see where else. Montego Bay, definitely you're gonna see a lot of, but there was a lot of stuff that was already there in Montego Bay when I came. So Fairview and all of that was already there. let me think what else. I have to really
Like, are there?
oh,
just
and
sorry.
like places in the grill too, like the so the NCB, is that the correct
Yeah.
name for it? Plaza.
Yeah.
So that
Oh, that's the Boardwalk Plaza,
Boardwalk
which
Plaza.
they shifted
Sorry.
from downtown to Grill.
Yes. So
Midtown, I don't know what you call it.
yeah, that as well. So I'm just like the convenience of people just having access to certain things, because I feel like sometimes when it's like a tourist destination city, if I would call the Grill, they forget that people live here sometimes. So like you need supermarkets, you need the bank. You know, you shouldn't have to go all the way to Sab Lamar for certain things. You know, certain things need to be in the Grill, just period, because there's so many people that live in this vicinity. So like just seeing those improvements of things coming about in, you know, smaller towns in Jamaica, that I regularly always be in or come across. So yeah.
And did you grow up in Brooklyn?
No, I'm
Okay.
Staten Island.
Oh, Staten. Okay. Right, you mentioned Method Man. Sorry, I should know that. So I always like to talk about, like, maybe you can speak to that a little bit, but like I always talk about the certain neighborhoods in Brooklyn, particularly in the 90s, that you just never would go to because of how bad they were. And now they are the most sought after parts of Brooklyn, which is like, for somebody who grew up in that era in New York, like you just can't believe it.
Yeah.
And so I always juxtaposition that to like kind of what's happening with Jamaica, where certain parts of the island were never really seen as appealing, but the potential has always been there. St. Anne's is, I think, one of those places. Like, no, I don't know who could tell that they saw that coming. Like, it just kind of just blew up, and like, you know, these prices are going through the roof, the valuations are going through the roof. It's like one of those things. It's like, yo, like, you know, more of that is coming, I believe.
Well, I know you're a realtor. You're in the realtor space, so what is it called? Is it called Paradisiac? That place I went to do. Well, I don't know. Like I go around sometimes going at the new, you know, housing developments and stuff like that, and I was like, whoa, this place is okay. I mean, I guess sometimes I still have that American brain when it comes to prices of real estate to hear, because I'm like, oh, that's, in my opinion. I'm just saying, I'm not no realtor. I'm not in that space, but I'm like, sometimes I'm like, the prices are like up there. Yeah. For a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom, like comparable to what you'll get in certain places in the States. And I'm just like, you know, and I know you can't compare, but sometimes I still do. And I'm just like, you know, that's where I see when it comes to like certain developments I see here in Jamaica, I'm like, how can an average person that lives here afford it? Unfortunately, I don't think many people can, you know, making certain salaries that they do here. So certain developments, I'm like, but I think people do still deserve to have 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms. You know, how can they get access to that? Like that's a different story.
Well, yeah, we talk about it all the time. It's not a new subject at all. But yes, I mean, there is a lot of development happening, especially like on the luxury side of things, and you're seeing that also not only in like residential accommodations, but also the new hotels that are coming.
Yes,
like,
definitely.
All 5-star hotels. There's nobody opening up a 3-star hotel.
Yeah.
You know, and like even the foreign investors who are coming here, it's like ultra luxury and ultra luxury.
Yes.
That you're seeing just all around.
Yes.
But yeah, there of course needs to be a focus on the average person and the affordability of that. But it's like I have like a monthly think tank meeting that I do with a small group of my subscribers, and like that's exactly what we were talking about yesterday for quite a long period of time, actually. With that, so you've been here 11 years, and how many places have you lived in Jamaica?
So I lived, first place was Trelawney. I lived there for a couple of months, by Greenwood. So that was a nice area. I was right across the street. Like every time I pass that beach now, I'm like, nobody used to go there but not everybody like flocks there on like Sundays and stuff like that. So it was like up in the hills, really nice apartment that I had. It was a returning couple. They owned the house and stuff like that, and they had a whole bunch of like coconut trees and all these mango trees in the back. So that was a really nice first experience and overlooking the ocean over there. And then Montego Bay, and then like the Hanover area now. So those are the places that I've stayed or lived in since I've been in Jamaica.
And do you have like, you can answer this however you want, but like, do you have like a favorite part of Jamaica, whether to visit or like that you do want to live, or any way you want to answer it?
So my heart, I love Portland. I'm like,
Same.
Like
Same
it's
thing.
like it feels like it feels like you're being taken into just a different world, in my opinion, when you go there. So I love everything about it. The waterfalls, the rivers, the greenery, the beaches. Like everything is like tapped to me in Portland. So I just wish it wasn't so far because I would get there more often, or there was a quicker way to get there. But I love it. I love Portland.
Same here. I mean, next year I'm gonna figure out a way to spend like a month out there.
Yeah.
Like usually it's like I think the most I've done is like 5 days, which is just not enough.
Yeah, it's not.
You know, I love it there. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful. I hope it like really does, as much as we talk about development in other parts of the island. Like I really hope it maintains that essence and it's literally like stays the same.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And I think most people want that. Most Jamaicans want that. Portland, people who live there, even the politicians are saying the same thing, like low density, low density, low density.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's going to happen with Negril because there is so much development coming here. It's crazy.
Do you mind me asking a question? Do you think that's a good or bad thing?
It depends on how it's managed.
Okay.
Depends on how it's managed. And I think if the mindset of the leadership is environment first, then residents second, then I think it can be really, really amazing. Because I've never seen this amount of interest in Negril. And like every time I say that, you know, you think we've reached some sort of peak, and then you hear about this development and this player coming in, and you're just like, oh my goodness, are you hearing about this property owner on the beach who's going to be doing XYZ? And just like, oh my gosh. And then you have like also the bookends of Negril. So you have even, you know, just outside of Negril, like even going towards Green Island, and then moving essentially to the south at this point when you're going back to South, back to Paradise. It is it's just crazy, you know. You see what's going on at the airport as well that's coming, and you're just like hoping, you want development, like Negril needs to develop, but there is definitely a situation called overdevelopment.
Of course.
I look at I don't, have you ever been to Bali?
No.
Okay, I was there in January, I think it was. I was there for New Year's, and I did not have the best. I didn't like it, really, to be honest. And I'm not saying this like disencourage anybody from going there, but I think one of the main reasons why I didn't enjoy it was because, well, two things. Like, it was definitely a sense of overdevelopment, because it's just everywhere we went, it was these places that weren't owned by people from Indonesia, right? And then you have the traffic is insane. You spend half your time just sitting there, and it doesn't matter. And you could have a moped, a bike. You're still just sitting there. And it's just because there's too many people. The place was not designed for this influx. And you know, even like certain places of Bali, like the locals like are just really in a desperate situation. And I look at that place. Some people like it, you know, what it's turned into. And I just remember leaving there, and I was just like, I hope Negril never ever turns into this, because then also too with the overdevelopment, I felt like there was a loss of culture. Of course. You know, and there was it was just so westernized, like everything, and like what westernized from like really from Australian Russian perspective, because like that's the majority of people who go there. And now like again, I don't know if it's the majority of businesses that are owned by those folks, but like that's what I felt, you know. And everywhere we went, the most popular places were these places that we went to, and I'm just like, man, I really, really hope that that doesn't happen here. And and you just, and I think I would say, like, I think Jamaica's culture, and I don't want to be presumptive or just take this for granted, but our culture is very strong, and you know, the people here are also strong and strong-minded, and over there they're a little bit more don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but just a little bit more docile, if you will, you know, and a little definitely more passive, and that is not the case here. So I would hope that with that being a strength, I think that would not be the case, but you know, I mean, money's a hell of a thing, you know. It can change a lot.
Definitely. And what I've, like, you know, me being a travel agent, I always said this about Jamaica. The love needs to be spread all over, because I know when I go to Portland sometimes it just makes me so sad. Like they're not getting enough business, so some of them have to leave and go work in Ocherios, or leave and go to the call centers in Kingston. So like you're a person that likes to work in the tourist industry. Now you can't really do that because it's so slow. But I think, like I said, it needs to be an equal balance. Montego Bay, let it stay where that saturation. Kingston, you know, the saturation for business, as well as, you know, people looking for a cultural experience in that type of way, like with music and stuff like that. And then all different parts of the country, like St. Elizabeth, we need more people going there. Very beautiful parish. Every parish here is beautiful. Like everything, like to me, like being in the travel space, we have to find what makes each parish that stand out, you know. Manchester, they have a lot of things where I think could be great for Manchester as well. So like it just needs, that love needs to be spread out. And when the love is not spread out, that's where the saturation, I feel, is going to happen. So they're going to come up and build up Negril, and it doesn't need to be, certain things need to be put in place. I'm not going to lie to you here in Negril, that from, you know, just my opinion. But it doesn't need to be a place where now it's like so much big hotels and those type of things, and it's like gonna lose it. Like that's the point of Negril. You're supposed to go out on the road, walk down the street, and find, you know, different restaurants, different bars, and all of those type of things, live music. That's what makes Negril special, you know. And I always tell people too, like, you're in two different places when you visit Negril. When you come to the 7 Mile Strip, your beautiful beach, and then when you go to the cliffs, I don't even think I think it's two different cities I'm in, to be completely honest with you, because the cliffs is just totally different from the beach, but both so beautiful. You know, to make up Negril.
And we have a lot of guests that split their vacation because it's two. You're 100% right. It's two different experiences. Completely two different types of vacations, and I think it's just beautiful that we have that to offer. You know, and just in respect, like you said, like, you know, you don't want these big hotels coming and stuff like that. I do hope, like, so one thing that they're thinking of doing, and or at least from when I was more involved with things happening in the community, they were looking at Negril, like the Negril as we know it here, as the old Negril, and that's what we refer to. And then if you move past basically the second Rio, or where the Negril sign is, going further north, that's the new Negril, because they actually have a different building ordinance with Hanover. You know, they can go much taller and have like a higher density. And so I think at first people were like, oh, that's, you know, it's not fair in a sense, you know, that happens. But then we started to think like, yeah, let's keep this kind of low density, because it's also like the other two things is that it's going to make our property value a little bit more valuable, because like we're the original and that sort of thing. We don't have so much space. But then also, no matter what, you cannot duplicate this beach that we have here.
You cannot.
And it's like impossible.
Definitely.
But I do think, just generally speaking, like there's a lot that does come with development. Like you have, like you're saying, like Negril has a lot of I'll say, like, we have a lot of challenges infrastructurally, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that we need improvement on. And even going back to the example of, I was talking about with Brooklyn, right?
Yeah.
And neighborhoods that I just never thought would have multi-million dollar, 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. And what caused that is development,
Of course.
I look at those folks, and I know people have different opinions on this, but like, say you have a family that's here in Negril that owned a piece of property for generations and generations, and they never had the opportunity to turn it into a cash cow, so to speak. Or maybe they never even will. But now somebody comes along and says, hey, I'll buy this thing for $5 million.
Yeah.
Never going to see that money in their life.
Yeah.
Like, and so I say to that is, it's like, I know a lot of people were like, don't, like, I think, especially now what's going on, like, I would encourage people, like, if you can hold on to your land, hold on to your land, because the valuation is just going to keep going up. But on the other side of that coin, I'm not mad at those families for selling that land, because it's just life changing, and it can, I think if they're smart, it's like generationally life changing.
Yes, definitely.
So in that sense, it's good. And I also think that there's going to be, again, going with the New York, Brooklyn example, like, I think we're going to get a lot of amenities because there are certain investors, and even, like, I'm just thinking about the developments that are coming to, the residential developments that are coming to Negril, right? And so you take this however you want, but there's going to be a shift in, just by the law of averages, there's going to be a shift in the medium income in Negril, right? And so, and I wish that was coming organically, like people here are going to be earning more because they went to college and they're joining this industry and they're bringing more to the household. But what's going to be happening is that more people who are making more money from the outside, whether it's the US or wherever, are going to be buying homes here, living here, or maybe vacationing here. But nonetheless, there's going to be more people with more money walking around and calling Negril their home.
Yes.
And so what that's going to do is, like, there's going to be more spending power on average in Negril. And I'm talking about, we're talking about thousands of units of homes that are reaching that. Like, from what, if I like do all the math and add up at least a little that I know, that's what you're seeing.
Wow.
And so to me, it's like, let's just say, like, the median income right now in Negril, just for argument's sake, is like $25,000 US a year, whatever.
Yeah.
Now you have like a bunch of people, maybe even if it's not 1,000, maybe it's hundreds of people now are averaging $100,000 per year. Like, they're going to go around and start spending money, and they're going to be spending more money around more places. And then I think also what's going to happen is that the amenities that they're used to, I mean, you're from New York, and there's certain things that you want, right?
Definitely.
And then you're going to support those types of stores and those types of amenities. And I think that is coming. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think that's definitely what's going to be happening. And you're going to see as that minimum spend, not minimum spend, but as that average income starts to go a little bit higher, there are people, entrepreneurs, like, hey, they need this type of business, and they're going to start coming to Negril, and they're going to start providing. And so what's going to happen is like, now those amenities are going to be available to everybody, and I think they're also going to drive. And it's so sad, but like, we talk about the roads, we talk about sidewalks, but I mean, again, look what happened in Brooklyn. I mean, the safety as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, all that happened because of investment. So
of course. Yes.
Sorry, I just kind of went off. All right. So been here 11 years. Do you have any regrets?
No regrets at all. I felt it was just this was, ordained for me to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Simply put, but I'll tell this funny story. I hope no one gets scared about the story I tell. It's funny to me now, and it might be scary to others, but I'm a New Yorker, so that's the context behind this. So, living in New York all these years, you go to the subway, you go out to clubs or be out like, 2, 3 in the morning in the subway. Nothing ever happened to me in New York. Like, I mean, I had some scary situations, but like, I was in the square, and I was warned. this was around the time they was doing like just grabbing people's phones in Montego Bay. But I'm telling this story so people can always still be mindful, like, and listen to when Jamaicans tell you something. They know it, they live it, they breathe it. So it was around this time when I first moved here in 2014. So there was like, whether you're was Jamaican, whoever you was, they was just like snatching people's phones and stuff. So I was told, do not use your phone when you're outside in public, like, just willy-nilly be on your phone and stuff like that. And I didn't listen. So I'm over there trying to call somebody, and then some guy comes up to me and he asked me a question, but I didn't understand what he said. And then he just like just grabbed the phone out of my hand. And I literally sat there and laughed because I'm like, all the years I lived in New York, and some people might not find the story funny, but I did. But because I'm like, all the years I lived in New York, I never got robbed. And then when I told the person I was waiting for, they was like, you were supposed to say thief, thief, and they would have ran after him and stuff like that. I didn't know that neither. But I say that to say that, with that happening to me the first couple of months of me living here, it still didn't say, oh, I'm going back home. It just felt like home. I'm not I'm not saying that we go through that in New York or whatever, like that scariness, but it just felt like home. Like even me getting, sorry to say like that, me getting robbed, it still didn't say, oh, I don't want to be here, because there was so much opportunity I saw in Jamaica. Like I'm one of those people that just sit back and like just watch things and just wait till it's my time, of course, to take action. And I was like, Jamaica could be a place, a place where I know I could definitely do business, because it just has so much levels. It's not just tourism. There's so much other things you could get to do, here business wise. So I was like, you know what? This is the place for me. So no regrets in that.
And do you, just off the top of your head, obviously you have a business, but like, are there other businesses or amenities that you see opportunities, or that you would encourage others to, hey, look into this? I think this would go well.
Definitely. I mean, one of the things I see that is lacking in Jamaica is like market, like decent marketing companies. I'm not saying there are not no decent ones here. So marketing companies, like online digital things, because I'll give you a really quick example. Like, some people are used to, for instance, we were saying, we were doing giveaways yesterday, and then we were also selling tickets. But I was like, I don't have no physical tickets. I have digital tickets. So like getting people in that mind frame of you go on TikTok, you go on Instagram. Let's make everything like that is digital now. Let's embrace that. So making people embrace more of the digital world. So I think there's a lot of space when it comes to those things. An online shopping market. I know now people can order on Amazon. I was so happy when my package came to me, my front door. Like, this is like crazy, because I never thought in a million years that it will come to Jamaica. But I'm so happy. Like, now you can order on Amazon. It could come to your front door. So that type of thing, like really looking into the digital space, how you can do with that, and also like I'm not gonna say it's luxury amenities, but for instance, nail salons. My salon I go to in Montego Bay, I've been going there for years, so that's why I just always drive and go there. But they do tip and sip, so you get your martini and you do your nails and your toes. So like I want to see more of those type of things, spas where you could do those type of things, because I'm a female, so I like to see more of those type of things. And also just when it comes to food, I love Jamaican food. But I mean, even though I didn't graduate from culinary arts, but I still went to school for culinary arts, so I'm really still passionate about, the culinary art field, making like more fusion restaurants. So, still giving people that Jamaican cuisine, but fusioning up where, we can do sit downs, like more sit down restaurants. Because I think Jamaica has the potential to have restaurants that could be Michelin star restaurants, and a place where people come for cuisine, period. Like just come here to say, I want to go to a restaurant in Jamaica. Like I feel like Jamaica has that, like, yeah, I'm gonna go to Jamaica for the weekend just to go check out so and so. So like I want to see more of that, like in the restaurant industry, and then also in the event industry too. I mean, like it's so much opportunity too in the event space. I get sad sometimes when I see the stadium in Trelawney, like it's just going to waste.
Yeah.
You know, like even when it comes to big games, track and field, like just certain stuff, like you know, really Jamaica being that destination for it. So I see where it's opportunity for individuals in those type of spaces, and still there's opportunity in the tourist sector. You know, bringing certain things that's not here already. There's quite a number of things you see in other countries and destinations that are still not here in Jamaica. Um, so, and I feel like a lot of times we feel we're like, oh, that's too touristy. I don't think that is too touristy. I loved going to Six Flags. You know, I love going to like do ATVs. I still like doing these things because they're fun to me. I don't find them touristy at all. I don't even find Dunn's River to be touristy because it's beautiful.
Now you gave us some everybody some really really good business ideas because I know people like are always asking, hey, what do you think would do well here? What do you think would do well there? Sort of thing. And you just gave us like a cross section of different industries that people can consider going into depending on their skill set. But I agree with you on like all of those.
And one thing I have to say too, stuff for children. Nothing. That is a gold mine. Like where do kids what do kids do here? Like sometimes I be thinking, like
it's crazy, you know. I agree, and I think maybe this is biased because I live in Negril, but like I think it's worse here in Negril. Like we don't. I know they're building imminently. They're going to start building the beach park downtown, but there is nothing for kids to do. Like it's so sad. Like even like after school programs or after school facility, there's like almost there's nothing for them to do, and it's just like I just remember as a kid just being like my schedule was packed.
Yeah,
I didn't have time to get in trouble or do something stupid because like I was always karate, Boy Scouts, football, soccer, track. Summer camp, you know, and
skating ring.
Yeah, oh my gosh, hot skates. How could I forget about that? Bowling alley,
Yes.
Movie theater. You know, like it's crazy. It's crazy. You're so right. You hit it on the head. Like, very very good.
When the bowling alley closed in Montego Bay after the pandemic, I was like,
man.
You know,
I hadn't even had a chance to experience it. No, you're absolutely right, and I think like once like folks out there, if like they start living here, like you're probably going to see more opportunities and along that. But man, so true, so true. I think you really hit it on the head. But thank you for that. I hope some folks out there like really heed your advice.
Yeah.
So before we transition into the business side of things and your events, what is your best advice for somebody who's thinking about moving to Jamaica?
My best advice for anyone moving here is that forget what you think you know and just come with an open heart. Don't try to come and try to fix everything because no, you come in, you observe, and then you gradually, make your suggestions, your opinions, but don't come in so strong like, oh, this has to do, or this has to change, and embrace people's culture. Don't put your culture on somebody else's culture. You know, what you did in America, what you did in Europe, what you did in Canada, this is Jamaica. So, you know what, like they said, like the old saying says, when in Rome, do like the Romans do. So really just try to embrace the culture of the people, and always remember, people are people. No matter where you go, you're going to have your nice people, you're going to have your rude people, you're going to have your mean people, but people are people. But still try to embrace the culture and don't try to change the people, because that's what makes Jamaica, not the beach, not the mountains, and none of that. It's the people.
I wish somebody gave me that advice when I first moved here. And I really think I always say, like, I
think Americans have the biggest challenge in transitioning.
Of course.
Because it's, I don't know if you want to call it brainwash or whatever, but like we were just like, we are the best.
Of course.
We know the best, you know, and I think even more so for New Yorkers, you know, coming in here.
Yes.
And that's what made my first year transition here so difficult, because I was imposing my culture. I was imposing how I was used to having things done.
Yeah.
And you're so right. It's like you gotta let that go, and you gotta embrace the culture like this. I think that's sound, very wise advice for everybody out there.
Nice, thank you.
You're welcome. So, definitely want to talk about Afro Jam, and I think it is very, very exciting, and I'm very happy and honored that you're bringing this event to Negril, and this is your inaugural event, and in doing so, and I think it's important to touch on like the history and the connection back home, back to Africa, and why you're doing this here and why you're doing this at this time. So if you can just give us a brief rundown.
Okay, so Afro Jam Jamaica, it is the bridge between Africa and the Caribbean through music, culture, and just having a good time. The name of Afro Jam, how it became about, is Afro. Simply put, it represents Africa. And then Jam is us as a people. We love to have a good time. As you hear, the song says, we're jamming. I want to jam with you. So it's just like, you know, us as a people, that's what I feel brings us together. No, no matter what, do funerals, do weddings, do baby showers, do graduations, is that community, that feeling of having a good time. So I saw where there was nothing on this side of the world happening in that regards, because for those that are familiar with Afro Nation, that started in Portugal. They have it in Detroit too as well. And Afro Future, it happens in Ghana, and that is also going to be the first year in Detroit this year. But I'm like, Jamaica needs something like this. I mean, my opinion, please, other Caribbean countries don't get mad at me, but I thought Jamaica is the heart of the Caribbean. This is just my opinion. Don't please.
Yeah, not going to disagree with you on that. Not on this program. Not on this channel.
So I felt that it needed to have something in that regard, an event, that celebrates. And the late Bob Marley, he always talked about it. Even the song that helped me even formulate this event, Africa Unite. So that's how Afro Jam was formed. Me saying there's a space for this, and I feel like it will do great here in Jamaica. So I like to call it a destination weekend instead of a festival, because festivals have a lot of artists or DJs throughout the time. But I wanted to keep it where we highlight excuse me, Negril, Jamaica, for being the beautiful place that it is. So yes, we're going to be having 4 days of partying, but I still want people to come here and enjoy, spend at the restaurants, do excursions, talk with the people. So still having that time to just experience Negril, Jamaica, and enjoy it how it should be enjoyed. And then like the time frame we picked is like, once again, me being a travel agent, I said, this is a lower time for Negril in general. So I said, this will be a perfect time, because you always have to look at, you don't want to do events when everybody's doing an event, because it's like, I'm not saying on a business side of things, and then also look for how you can help improve a place too, because in the end of the day, you want to be able to help with improvement. If I was going to pick a date, like let's say, for instance, during in May, during the what happens with Mocha Fest, or in August around Dream Weekends time, sometimes people are gonna won't embrace it too much in the beginning. Maybe in the and later on they'll be like, okay, there's 2 things in Negril to do, but I wanted it where people will be more open to come that's why I picked those dates, even though there are different events and parties that's happening during that time in the grill and then in the, surrounding areas. But I said this will benefit all of us, because in the end of the day, we have to look at that. Yes, we want people that live here in Jamaica to come to our events, but we also want foreigners, because this is what helps grow a community. This is what helps grow a city. This is what helps grow a parish. When these type of things happen and people can say, I'm gonna fly out to Jamaica for these things. So that's how AfroJam was basically formed. Me saying there needs to be something happening in Jamaica that bridges the gap between, Africa and the Caribbean.
And I think, I mean, you hit on like a couple of really, really great positives that I want to touch on. And one of them definitely is like the time of year that you chose, which is June. So if you didn't mention before, what are the dates?
So it's June 26th to the 29th. And once again, I didn't want to do Juneteenth because I had to think when are like most people out of school, because I wanted to give a lot of people options. People that live here, their kids out of school, or they're out of school, and then also, people that's coming from overseas and stuff like that. Juneteenth is a, holiday weekend, but I wanted it to where it's like that end of beginning of summer, in my opinion, because summer starts June 20th usually, or June 21st. So that first summer kickoff, and just to kick off the season of, what's else to come in Jamaica or Negril for the year. So that's where that came about.
And I can tell you, like, we as a hotel hospitality community, like, we appreciate that. You're coming in essentially a dead space, that is not taken up, and that's how what you call it, Dream Weekend started. Like, Independence Weekend, Emancipation Weekend, like, that wasn't a thing before these guys came out. I'm telling you, it wasn't. And they took their time. I know some of them, they've gone through a tremendous amount of struggle. And now this has become like this global phenomenon where they're not only doing events here, they're doing events abroad. And it's this great thing that is amazing for Negril,
Definitely.
And I could see this being something like that. I know this is your first year, and like, from my experience, like, I have a much smaller event that I do, but I know this stuff isn't easy. I can only imagine. You're some stranger. You're reaching out to people, and I can only imagine the trials and tribulations that you've gone through so far. But it's your year one, and I mean, I want this to do well, not just for your purposes, but like you said, for this community. I think
definitely.
You can do exceptionally good for Negril, and it's just like, imagine we have this other Folk Fest, Dream Weekend, whatever have you, and I could see that, especially with the fundamentals, the foundation that you just explained to us.
Yeah, definitely. And like and for those that don't know, Sierra Leone, which was I'll go back a little bit. So why I moved to Jamaica, not only because of me loving it and falling in love with Jamaica, but Sierra Leone and Jamaica share a really rich history. So for those that don't know, I'll just give you a little bit of history. The Maroons that went to Nova Scotia, and then went to Sierra Leone, they were some of the first people to help form Freetown, which is the capital of Sierra Leone, and which are the Creole people of Sierra Leone. So, and through that time frame, a couple of Maroons also went back again from Jamaica. So it was like kind of back and forth type of deal that happened, after slavery, with them going to Sierra Leone and then coming back in and going back, So you will find, like, even in Creole and Patois, you'll find like a lot of words are similar, like what's the famous word I always say? We say hush now, and you guys just say hush. Yeah. So it's just like, that little added, onto it. But it's like I said, it's just crazy. Like, when you go to Freetown, you'll see the Maroon church still. You'll also see a street called Trelawney. Chico, I think it was Westmoreland. So, very, it's a, they teach it in for the children. Well, when you're a youth growing up in Sierra Leone, that's their history, so they teach it. Everyone knows that, growing up in Sierra Leone, if you went to school over there. But I hope some Jamaicans that don't know it, like just research it and start to like, learn about just the different, how we're similar but still different, but then still similar, and we're all one. Even though we have different cultures still, but we still have a lot of things that are so much the same. Even with Bami, they eat in Sierra Leone they eat cassava cake, which is the same as Bami. But yeah. So there's a lot of things. Even fufu. Fufu is made from cassava, so it's fermented cassava. So it's gonna have that same texture. Well, not texture, but same taste to it. So when you're eating, like when I'm eating bami, I'm like, oh, I'm always thinking about fufu when I'm eating bami. To be honest with you, but bami is a little bit sweeter because a fufu is fermented, but it still has that taste of what I long for sometimes because I can't buy fufu here unless I know there's African restaurants. I mean, not African food stores in Kingston, but I've never been to them. So yeah.
I didn't even know that. We have an Ethiopian restaurant here in the grill.
Yeah, I have. I need to try that out. I haven't tried it out yet.
Yeah, gotta check it out. Yeah, but like you said, there are a lot of similarities, and I think in many ways, like this is kind of like a full circle moment, especially like you said. Music is just so important, such a big part of our culture, and you're bringing a lot of these artists here as well. Can you give us a rundown of the days and some of the artists?
So yeah, definitely. So for this year, we're smaller than. We just want everybody to know this is our first year, so we're smaller than the ones that you're normally used to. So we wanted to make it impactful. Everybody that we made a part of this. This is probably one of the first times it's an all-female artist, and it was not like just planned. It just happened, and I said I'm just gonna go with it because I did reach out to some male artists, but unfortunately their schedules didn't align or their what they wanted didn't align at that time for us for a first year staging. So the first night is June 26th, Thursday, that we at Waves Beach from 8 to 2 a.m. That is the Neon Glow Party. And yes, the name may be simple, but there's a reason behind every one of the names or every one of the parties. So with Neon Glow, we want people to come out in bright colors. You're going to find bright colors, of course, in African print. You're going to find the yellows, you're going to find the pinks, you're going to find the oranges, and even in the Caribbean and Africa, you're always going to see beautiful colors all over the place. So that was the meaning behind the first night. We want to start off with the euphoric feeling of like you're coming into, something that's going to be a great weekend. And then the next night is June 27th. That is also at Waves. That is Retro Bash. It's from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. And once again, name simple, but for all of us that are 80s babies or 70s babies, we grew up with, I feel, please, anyone that's a little bit older than us, don't kill us, but I feel the 90s and the early 2000s had some of the best music, whether it's hip hop, whether it's dancehall, whether it's R&B, whether it's African music. I love that era of music. So I had to pay homage to what set the tone for a lot of the music we know today, in that time. And then we do have a beautiful lady performing that day, which is Shauna Controller. So she's not a retro artist, but I feel like some of her stuff does embody some of the old dancehall beats that you're used to hearing and growing up with, So that's why we put her on that night. And then we go to June 28th, which is at Long Bay Beach, and that's our brunch beach party. That is from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. and we want people to come out in an African print somewhere, which is the first time I feel anybody did that on this side of the world, in the Caribbean. So that's going to be fun to see people come out with their African print somewhere. And for that day, we have another dancehall artist, which is Stock Ashley. So once again, like I said, it wasn't planned to have all ladies, but it just happened. So I just flew with it. You know, I'm like, I'm female promoter. There's not many female promoters in this space, so I said, you know, I know a lot of the people in the team is mostly men in the team. So they're like, oh, we need a man. I'm like, nah, let's just keep it how it is this year. It's cool, you know what I mean? Let's just flow with it, ride with it. So we have her performing that day. And then the last day, we have the lovely Molly performing. So for those that don't know, Molly is Ghanaian. So she was born in Ghana. And then she, you know, she grew up in America and stuff like that. So, you know, with her song, I just love how it grew from TikTok to what it is now, and I'm really really proud of her. And like, I encourage people to go to her YouTube channel and really listen to her music because she has some great music. But people have to always remember when you're a musician, there's certain things that's gonna pick up more than others. Burna Boy had many songs before he became Last Last. Now everybody go chop breakfast or whatever he says. I'm sorry if I messed up your song, Burna Boy. But I'm saying he has so much other stuff, but that song was the one that made him the Burna Boy many people know today. So this is Molly's turn. That's her song that's making her who I hope her career goes, you know, to heights. But that's her song, you know, Shake It to the Max. That, you know.
It's like, I feel like it's like the most popular song right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even fronting. Like, I think you hear with everything you see, every culture of TikToker, YouTuber using her song. And I'm just like, I thought she was a dancehall artist initially because the remixes with like Shensia and all these people. I was like, oh, she must be from Mali, and I'm not keeping up with this stuff. But it's so awesome. I'm like very very happy for her, and this is like incredible that you got her to be at your show.
And it will be the first time she's performing here in Jamaica. She shot her video here, but this will be her first performance here in Jamaica. Well, now her first performance in the Caribbean, because I don't want to speak about what happened last month in Trinidad. So I'll keep off of that. But she will definitely be here, guys. So for a fact, she'll definitely be here with us. And like I said, the reason why I wanted to end it with her. So sorry, I'm just skipping over it. So the last party is on June 29th. That is Golden Noir. And for anyone who doesn't know what noir means black. And I wanted to end it with that because black is beautiful. Black is so many things. And when we're under the stars, we are golden and we shine. So I want people to come out with their all black one, with their gold accessories, because majority of Africa you can find gold there, and we are a rich people. We are. It doesn't have nothing to do with physical riches. We are rich as a people. So I wanted to end it with that for people to know that black is beautiful. You know, we can wear black at night and not, you know, say, oh, we too black to wear black at night. No, we're gonna shine that day, you know. And the reason why, you know, I wanted to end it with Mali is because, you know, when Africa and the Caribbeans join together, it could be magical. And that song, you know, maybe simple and fun as it is, it done so much for a lot of their careers. Shansia, Skilly Bang. Like the last time I checked, which was probably like last week, they're like 56 on the U.S. Billboard chart, which is a big thing for artists. You know, U.S. It's not like Caribbean or Afrobeats. This is the U.S. So you know, this is the first time Shansia is on it. So and then for the Skilly Bang, he was on it before, and then Molly was on it with what was her name? Armani. I forgot her name. She's another Ghanaian artist as well, but she sings more like pop and stuff like that. So so yeah, so I was just like, it's just so great to end it with her. And then we also have something totally different that you'll never have seen at a destination weekend here in Jamaica, us adding an element that also ties in back to the culture of Africa. So I don't want to talk about that too much because I want people to come out and definitely experience that because they're going to be taken back a little bit into, you know, the feeling of being, even though we're not in Africa, but we want to give that little bit of feel. So every night you're gonna see, you know, things of Africa. We're gonna have like the neon glow. We're gonna have like um um animals from the safari backdrops, you know, glowing and stuff like that. And then also tying things with, you know, stuff of the Caribbean and stuff like that because we want to merge everything together to give you that feeling of, you know, just that the bridge that we're trying to do. So of course you're gonna hear Afro beats, African music, dancehall, reggae, hip hop, because you have to remember this is all us. You know, R&B. This is all us. This is our music, and this is our culture. So yeah.
Awesome. That sounds super, super exciting. I will definitely be trying to come out and support as many events as I can.
Thank you.
And I think for all those folks out there, if you're going to be in Jamaica, if you're going to be around, definitely come out, try and go to all of the events, definitely make it out to all.
Definitely.
Or if you can only do one or two, do that. But I think this is like a very historic moment for Jamaica. It's definitely a historic moment for Negril. And you have a discount code here that I'm going to put in the comments.
Yeah.
If you want to just tell us about that.
So before we get to the discount code, I want to tell one of the biggest missions for me.
Mhm.
So me growing up, I grew up in the projects. You know, I'll say that freely. I grew up in Staten Island, the projects, and one of the things I always loved about Wu Tang, I'm gonna give them a shout out right now. They did a lot for the community. You know, I when I was in elementary school, our playground was a mess. It was just like, you know, this is the projects, you know,
Right.
and it was right up the street from the projects, our elementary school. But Wu Tang, they came in and they fixed up our our playground. They put a map there so we could see the map of the world. And like, you know, from that age, I was like, if they can do it, you know, dudes from the projects, why when I get older I'm not able to give back to people in my community and stuff like that. So one of the biggest initiatives of Afrojam is, you know, proceeds from the ticket sales will be going to communities in Westmoreland area as well as my parents' country in Sierra Leone. So our, you know, future goal is to try to build a community center in both places. But for now, it's just giving back to I know you guys have a not for profit that you guys do here at Travelers Inn. So, you know, I definitely wanted to talk to you about that, you know, later on. But like the first couple of years, just, you know, merging with already non for profits that's out there and seeing how we can help and give back to your initiatives and stuff like that. And then, you know, the ultimate goal is to because I'm big on music, art. I grew up. I played the trumpet for 6 years.
Get out of here. So did I.
Yeah, I played the trumpet for
from
6 years.
7 to 10. Well, basically right through high school. I didn't know we had that in common.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. So I played the trumpet.
Yeah.
I love art. I mean, I don't know how I got away with this. My whole junior high school year, I did art. I wasn't supposed to, but my art teacher just let me stay in, and I just, you know, continued just being in art class, even though I didn't continue on with that. But it's like those things are being taken away slowly from the youth. You know, music is wonderful, and I'm not talking about just being an artist. Learning how to play an instrument, that is really, really something that I'm not seeing nowadays. Every kid should know how to play something or read music. Reading music, like, you know, can open up so many doors for you. Being a musician in general, or, you know, being an artist in general. So I think that, you know, have the youth having access to that, especially the youth in, you know, lower level income households. You know, sometimes their parents don't have what it takes financially to give them certain things, and I think them being able to have this, you know, to be able to go say, I'm going to go to the community center today and take up, if they're really serious, piano, or take up an art class, or take up spoken words or whatever. So, I mean, they're the future, and I'm glad I had that, when I was growing up, because I know a lot of kids, even in America now, they don't even have music. They took music out of New York schools. So I'm like, how do you take music out of schools, Yeah, so.
No, you're right. I mean, I think, I think when we were younger, our dad was, me and my brothers, I have two younger brothers, he was trying to live vicariously through us. And he always had this dream of like me and my brothers starting our own little band.
Yeah.
But we just never took to it. But nonetheless, we all had, our base was piano, and then we all picked a different instrument.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think as adults, we all have, what would I say, a higher appreciation for just music in general across all genres.
Yeah.
And to your point about learning how to read music, like your brain is just different. And you'll look at the world differently.
Mm-hmm.
You'll look at people differently. You'll look at cultures differently because you're learning like all this music that you typically are just not going to be exposed to, and you're just not even going to listen to, let alone learn about like Tchaikovsky or Beethoven or even going to America with John Sousa, like, and you doing all this type of music, and it's just like you're automatically going to be learning about these different cultures and like the differences and nuances and how they do music.
Yeah.
And so I think you're absolutely right. Like it's that's sad. I didn't know that was taken out of New York schools. Like that's crazy. That's so crazy. And like even what you were saying before about children, the opportunity with children's programming.
Yeah,
I think that's another avenue. You know, to give music lessons, piano lessons, trumpet lessons. I don't meet that many trumpeters, and definitely not female trumpet players either. So I think, I mean, you're hitting on a lot of good points here. A lot of good points.
And the funny thing is, in my elementary school, it was all girls. It was just one boy that played the trumpet.
Really?
It was all of us was girls. All of us was girls. And then the first trumpet that she played. They gave her the hornet to play because she could hit those notes. Yeah, so.
Wow. No, that's so interesting, and I'm sure that has played into like why you're doing this. Like, I mean, just think about that.
Definitely,
you know what I'm saying?
I love them, and a little bit of another backstory. I did used to throw parties, but they're never on this scale. So I threw parties. I started throwing parties in Philadelphia when I was 18. So like everything leads you up to in your life to certain moments, and it's training you, even though you're not even knowing that you'll be trained to go in that area.
It's crazy. I'm sure like when you were younger and you started doing that, you had no idea how 20 years later or whatever, you're doing your own music festival in an island in the Caribbean. And it's like, this is why it's just like such an example to me. It's just like, you just have to give kids an opportunity.
Definitely.
You just don't know what that's going to turn into and the impact it's going to have on them.
Of course.
Really. I mean, great point. Thank you for bringing that up. I thought that was.
Thank
I think
you
that's
for letting me.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, so So you want to get into the discount?
Oh yes. So right now we are having 50% off on all of our tickets, whether it's the individual tickets or the weekend band. So 50% off everything. The first two parties are, so let me just give you a rundown of the parties. All parties are food inclusive. We're going to give you an introduction to African music. I've said music, sorry. To African cuisine, but it's nothing too heavy, like no fufu or anything like that yet. We're going to warn you guys. When I always think of parties, I always think of the ladies. So we ain't going to be like dipping our hands in.
Being prepared just makes sense. The same goes for the vehicles in our driveways. If your car is out of warranty, repair.
Good morning, beautiful people. Thanks for watching. Beautiful life. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Okay, so I have Jamie said hi, Abuk said hi. Thank you for stopping by.